Hello, it is I, Dr. Brian Lorgan111, and there was a ton of great feedback on my previous Bingo videos talking about Bingo 3.0, and so I wanted to talk about the design of some things in a little episode today, and so let's do that. One of the things people brought up is pixel art. And I wanted to talk about why I'd kind of limited myself to items that I had and some improvements that I wanted to make pixel art, but then also open some things up to you. So here on this little map that I have made is all of the Bingo pixel art. And there are a few items that people have already suggested changes for that I'm going to make. One of them is the rail that's over there looks a little bit too much like a ladder, and so I know ways that I can brighten the color of the rail so that it looks a little bit more rail-like and a little bit less ladder-like, basically by kind of replacing I can't remember exactly what it was that I was going to do, but I think like if I replace this with this or something, it ends up looking better on the map. I don't remember exactly right now. Yeah, it starts like highlighting it more white. I had some notes about ways that I could change the color of the rail to make it look a little bit more like an iron rail and a little bit less like a ladder. Someone also suggested some changes to the name tag because it's, if I have the name tag that you can see near the bottom left over here, its outline is a little bit too dark, and so I can lighten the outline. Mostly what I'm going for is unambiguously being able to identify whatever it is that you're looking at, regardless of whether you're holding things in the main hand or the offhand. And so I've been looking more at maps kind of on this scale. And there were two other items that people brought up as being somewhat difficult to recognize. There's the rabbit hide, and actually over here I was going and fooling with colors a little bit. But the rabbit hide you can see right over here on the map, and it looks a little bit like leather. It should really be kind of a lighter tan color, ideally, but we're limited with the kind of different map colors that are available. There's leather, and here's rabbit hide. And so you can see the rabbit hide is a little bit smaller and a different shape than the leather, and the leather is also more orange. This one should be kind of a light tan, but there really aren't great light tan colors available in Minecraft. And so I've done the best that I can, but maybe someone can do better on that one. And so that's a difficult one. And then mushroom stew is another item that's very difficult. And I was fooling around on this map with colors, and so it's actually doesn't appear as the colors that it normally does. I was trying out a few different things over here. Normally it's pink wool and light gray wool to make mushroom stew look a bit more like mushroom stew. But it looked fine up until they went and they added other stew types to me in the game. They added rabbit stew and they added beetroot soup. And they're both kind of harder to obtain. And mushroom stew has been in the game for longer, and so more people are familiar with it. And so I'm not terribly concerned about those, but they do look awfully the same, especially the mushroom stew and the rabbit stew. And there aren't just great kind of, I don't know, orangey pink colors that are the color of the mushroom stew. In any case, all of the bingo art, it's constrained by the technical ways that the map is cloning blocks, has to be in one of these regions that I think they're 15 by 15 by 2. Let's actually count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. No, they're 17 by 17 by 2. Right. So that is the square that I have, and the by 2 is just that you can do a little bit of height, and height changes the color and the shading of items on the map. And so, for example, here we have a TNT minecart, and the fact that this goes up and down with light gray wool means we'll have a lighter block and a darker block and a lighter block and a darker block. And if I actually kind of let me get an item out of my inventory so I can look at the map full size. So yeah, you can see right here, if you look at the minecarts, there's kind of a lighter gray and a darker gray and a lighter gray and a darker gray, making kind of like a little checkerboard pattern on the side of the minecarts, which gives them kind of about the right color for a texture. And they've got kind of a checkerboard pattern actually in their 16 by 16 pixel art, if you look very closely, like in the creative inventory or to one of these items in the inventory. And so I tried to honor the details of the pixel art whenever possible, because I think that helps make the item look very kind of true to form. But in any case, there's a lot of items that I would like to add to Minecraft Bingo, but I don't think I can draw decent art for successfully, and it's because it doesn't follow the 16 by 16 grid that a lot of items do. And so, for example, let's take a look at an anvil. If you take a look at an anvil and you look at the way that it's actually just rendered here in the inventory, this is not a 16 by 16 pixel grid. This has much higher density of pixels. It's a 3D model that's projected at an angle, and it also has mostly black and gray colors that are hard to distinguish. And so I think if you tried to do a 17 by 17 by 2 high bit of art to try to make an anvil, you could never make it look any good. But this is where I'll enlist you guys for help if possible. If you can show me one, and maps now work again in the latest snapshots, but you could also do it in 1.8. So 1.8 or the latest snapshots, if you make a new map, it will be zoomed in at the highest zoom level, which is the way that the Minecraft Bingo maps work. They're only 128 by 128. And so if you can make a 17 by 17 by 2 art that looks like an anvil for me, by all means do, and you could like tweet a screenshot at me or something, and I'll take a look at what you've done and what the art looks like on the map. So that's an example of something I've never done. All blocks do not have a 16 by 16 pixel art. Instead, they're a three-dimensional thing that's rendered at a much higher resolution. And so trying to make, like a coal ore block, I wouldn't put coal ore block on Minecraft Bingo because you'd need Silk Touch. But, any kind of block I think is basically out because you can't draw good pixel art for me, or at least I haven't been able to draw good pixel art, but maybe you guys can surprise me. So by all means do. But yeah, basically there's two types of item categories. There are those that use a 16 by 16 pixel art, and there are those that are 3D models that are rendered on a diagonal that use a much higher density of pixels. And so I want to, in general, have each object in Minecraft Bingo correspond to an item that you can hold in your inventory and try to look just about exactly like it. Over here, people were commenting on the color of the diamonds, and so I was fooling around with diamond colors as well, and didn't think I could do a whole lot better. I think those are the only ones that I've kind of really messed up, as opposed to what currently, by default, appears in Bingo. But yeah, most of the other items that I do have, I'm happy with. I would like to add more items to Bingo, but the problem is I've been restricting myself to the ones that have a 16 by 16 grid. Someone suggested banners rather than paintings, but once again, banners are these high density pixel things that I can't make a good pixel art for, but maybe you guys can. Yeah, but in any case, yeah, redstone repeater is one that we might add. The flower pot, I haven't actually tried to do the flower pot. But yeah, it does have a 16 by 16 grid. It's got a lot of reds and pinks, and there aren't a lot of available colors in that portion of the spectrum. Here's a spider eye, which has mostly kind of red and pink, or fermented spider eye, which turns out pretty good. So in any case, those are some of the design constraints and considerations that go into the pixel art that I put in Minecraft Bingo. And then the other thing is just for it to be a reasonable object to get in Bingo. And I would like to make harder items, but we're restricted to the overworld, and we are, restricted to what you can reasonably expect to get in 25 minutes in the game. But yes, by all means, tweet more examples of pixel art if you are the type who wants to try to get more items in the game and make more pixel art. There are a number of flowers that I could add, and people have suggested the flowers before, but I'm really trying to avoid easy items. I feel like there's already too many items that you can get simply by walking through a forest and punching something. And there's also too many items, especially now that they're changing things in 1.9. They've changed the loot tables for dungeons and abandoned mine shafts to make some more items available in them. And so it's also getting a little bit too easy to fill up your bingo card by walking into a dungeon and looting the chests, which is something that I definitely want to be kind of part of the core mechanic of bingo, and that's part of what makes it fun in general. Like, I want people to go caving and try to find loot and structures. But yeah, it's already getting kind of heavy on dungeon loot, and so I'm trying to find other items that one needs to craft or gather various objects throughout the world to put together to craft, but there just aren't that many in Minecraft as it stands. All right, I've rambled enough about pixel art. Let's talk about a few other design considerations back in the Minecraft Bingo world itself. Something I only recently found out about is that they made it so that if you have Frostwalker and you're riding a horse, the horse has Frostwalker, and so you can ride a horse with Frostwalker across the ocean, which I think is awesome. I am not sure that this is going to last into the final release of 1.9, but I hope that it does, because I think that actually is a good thing to do. But riding is still kind of broken. As you know, you can't ride a horse into new chunks, which is what just happened to be here. These chunks have not rendered, and unless I hop off the horse, actually, not sure that I can hop off the horse now. The game might be crashed. But one of the bugs in the snapshot now involves riding. Let's see, can I hop off the horse now? Yeah, and then all of a sudden all the chunks start rendering in. But yeah, they changed riding and passengers, and it's not all working again yet, so as they fix it, who knows if they'll end up fixing the way that Frostwalker works. But I thought that was pretty cool, and so I've actually changed the way that... Oh no! Let's see. I meant to TP to 61,761, which is the current location of the lobby, or at least somewhere where you're standing in the lobby. I've made some changes since last time, and I wanted to walk through a few more things. Let's see. Showing me a reminder of the current game configuration, where I've already changed some of the default setups. We'll talk about this in a little bit more. But I wanted to talk about the signs, because people were asking about the signs and the usability of right-clicking the signs. And I never walked through the kind of like tutorial or startup on this map with folks. So let me get myself into that mode where you first loaded the map. And so I'll meet you guys back here with a newly loaded Minecraft Bingo map. Alright, if we were loading the map for the first time, the scoreboard wouldn't be on the right-hand sidebar like it is, but otherwise we would end up spawning over here. Welcome to Minecraft Bingo by Dr. Brian Lorgan 111. This is version 3.0 beta of the map. Do you have the latest version? Find out. Right-click to go to the official site. And so you could right-click on this, and it gives you a little link that you can click in the chat. Or right-click me to begin playing. In this map, wall signs can be right-clicked. And it also has a reminder here if you're putting this on a server and things aren't working. Server properties enable command block equals true. So what you need to do on a server in order to actually let command blocks work. But yeah, so there's kind of the first reminder or the first informational that wall signs can be right-clicked. And then if you right-click me to begin playing, it brings you here. And this is where, suppose you did put this up on a server, you loaded the map for the first time, and so you spawned over there. But then new players who join your server for the first time would spawn over here, where they can either go to the lobby or go to the tutorial. And I haven't shown off the tutorial yet. So let's go to the tutorial. And the tutorial takes a minute to initialize and does some wacky stuff, and then drops us in here. We're in a tiny little box. And once again, in the tutorial, every player will say, in this map, wall signs can be right-clicked. And so basically I'm using the convention that standing signs are informational and wall signs are clickable. Welcome to Minecraft Bingo by Dr. Brian Lorgan 111. Minecraft Bingo uses clickable signs. Right-click this sign to continue. So the reason I'm using signs now is that signs are technically superior to other clicking mechanisms in Minecraft, just because if I right-click a sign, it's possible for the command blocks to know who clicked the sign, whereas pressure plates and buttons and all the other redstone kind of things, you don't know who activated the mechanism. And so that's just a technical limitation of how Minecraft works. Right-clicking signs are vastly superior because they let you know which player is doing the action. So they let you know which player is trying to join the team. So previously, like in the old Minecraft Bingo map, if you were in multiplayer, and you had one person standing near the pressure plate to join the red team, and another player walks up and stands on the pressure plate to join the red team, it might have the player who's nearby, rather than the player who actually stood on the pressure plate, actually join the red team, because there's no way for the command blocks to know who's activating the mechanism. So right-clicking signs are basically the only good way to activate things when you want to know what player activates things. And yeah, they have a number of other technical advantages, and so I'm using right-clicking signs, and so it might not be the best usability, but I think it will become more and more familiar to players over time, just because Minecraft-wise, all maps are going to start using signs just because they're technically superior. So right-click the sign to continue. In any case, the very first portion of the tutorial that all players would see if they go through the tutorial is the information that you can right-click any wall signs on this map. And then the rest of the tutorial does the very basics of bingo. Minecraft Bingo plays as New World Survival. You'll need to crunch trees, craft tools, and eat, but you're in a race to complete a goal. There are 25 items pictured on the bingo card. Here's our bingo card. You'll want to get items as fast as you can. Goal is 5 in a row, column, or diagonal. Try getting an item now. Punch down sugarcane and craft it into sugar, which sure enough is the item on the center of this card. And so if I craft it into sugar, I got an item. When you get an item, your score will update, and indeed my score on the right-hand side of the screen has gone from 0 to 1. You can see what items you've got by holding your maps and dropping one copy. The drop key is Q by default. And so if I hold my map and I drop one copy, it updates my map and shows me that I've gotten the sugar, which is great. Try it now. Drop a bingo card. I just did. Once you get 5 in a row, you win. Other game modes exist. Learn more in the lobby. Let's play. Click to start. And so I can click on the sign. And I wonder if I should say right-click again there. Rather than left click. People are in survival mode now. A lot of people suggested I should put people in survival mode because otherwise they accidentally left click and destroy all the blocks in the lobby. And so the map is, it's a creative mode map, which means even if you're running it in single player, you can still, type game mode 1 and you have all the cheats available. So you have the freedom to do what you want to do on the map, but it will put you in game mode 0 to start you off so that you're less likely to accidentally break the entire map just by accidentally clicking. So those were good suggestions that people gave me. But then we actually come to the lobby and can join different color teams and make random cards and watch the map update really quick and do all the types of things. And so, yeah, and so I've got the signs in here. Once again, the informational signs are standing signs and the clickable signs are wall signs. They're not all done yet, but most of them are. I don't know that I showed these off before, but basically, if you right-click these, they give you a book, and then you can read the book where it basically explains a little bit more of the details. And I guess for anyone who wants to read, don't feel obligated, but I'll go ahead and click through these books, and so you can pause the video if you want to read these and see if I have any typos or other things that I should try to do. I haven't done a final pass on the text that's inside these books, but basically I explain a few different things about how the game works, and thank all the people who have tested it for this version and in the past. And it calls out the player on the last page as well. And let's see, there's the button over here that shows all the possible items that are currently in the game. And so these items appear at any difficulty, and then there's easy, medium, or hard. So you only get one of each of these columns on the card. And so, for example, if you have a gold sword on the card, you won't have a powered rail on the card. You're only going to get one of each of these items. And so there's currently, I want to say like 52 items. I can't remember. And like 28 different buckets of items or whatever that you can get in Minecraft Bingo. And like I said, I would like to add more, but I've been very constrained by the pixel art. Perhaps people will help me with that. Version info. Ah, right, you're playing. Right, and I have the version history here. Right. I forgot that I did this. So that is great. Yeah, Minecraft Bingo version 1.0. Do people remember that? It was like an alpha. It was from Minecraft 1.6. There was no set block. I had to dispense buckets of water in order to circle items on the map. I went back and took a look at that. It's crazy. And I haven't set up the donation to have like a donation link for PayPal and different things like that yet. And then the other thing is customized modes. And so you can have, night vision or just vanilla gameplay, or the spammable iron sword that I showed off in a previous video, or things like a saddled horse with Frostwalker. And so I have all of these different configurations. Someone suggested making these toggles and having them kind of light up for what mode it is, it's a reasonable suggestion. It's hard to do along with the general customization, so let's show how these things work. Saddled Horse, Frostwalker, and Night Vision. Basically, these are just kind of convenient facades over what's really going on, which is over here. There are some commands that run at the start of the game, and there are some other commands that run every time a player respawns. And so when we're in Saddled Horse, Frostwalker, and Night Vision mode, let's actually take a look at these commands. I need to be in game mode 1 in order to actually interact with the command blocks. But here is a command that gives everybody night vision. Here is a command that says replace item entity at A, slot.armor.feet, Minecraft leather boots 1-0, unbreakable 1, enchantment level 2, ID 9. This basically gives people unbreakable Frostwalker leather boots and puts them on the player. Replace item slot armor feet basically just puts it on your feet. And so that is how people get the Frostwalker boots. Over here, execute at A, tilde, summon entity horse. Right above them, that is tame and has some fixed attributes, because otherwise some people might get speedy horses and some people might get slow horses. And so it's got all the attributes for how much health they have and how high they can jump and blah, 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 blah. Invulnerable. I made them invulnerable because I was thinking that way you couldn't kill them to get the saddle. And I forgot that if you're riding the horse, you can simply open your inventory and take the saddle off of the horse. And so I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I haven't really thought about it. Yeah, with the saddle, blah, 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 blah. And then these other command blocks are empty. Basically, I think there's 7 command blocks in here, and so the idea is you can put up to 7 customizations to run at the start of the game or to run every time a player respawns. And so, for example, for respawning, basically players get tagged with just respawned, and so when you respawn, it gives you the night vision back using this command that's here. And so the idea is basically these things run at the start of the game, these things run each time a player dies and has to respawn. And these things over here are just convenient shortcuts for, typing in a certain setup. And so if I click night vision, it's going to erase all the command blocks except for night vision. And so all the rest of these command blocks are going to be empty and not do anything. And so all we're going to have is the night vision commands over in here. And so if you wanted to configure things with, maybe you like the Saddled Horse and Frostwalker but didn't want the night vision, then you could click that button and then come over here and just delete the night vision command inside this command block, for example. So it's kind of easy to mix and match just by picking one of these that has most of the things you want and then tweaking it. But you need to know a little bit about command blocks. In terms of doing toggles, what's weird about the toggles is if I had these things being on and off, I guess they'd have to correspond to certain columns in here so that, night vision is always in the first column, and I guess vanilla doesn't even make sense to be a toggle now. It would basically be if everything was turned off. Elytra would be 1, Frostwalker would be 1, Saddled Horse would be 1. But then if you go and customize it, would the lights still be on and off here? If you've gone and tweaked the command blocks over here, these things aren't going to know about it. And so, yeah, there's just the usability in terms of the visibility of exactly what current game mode you're in. Another thing is the starting chest per team, where basically you can put any items you want in this chest, and then at the start of the game, this chest breaks on top of, the spawn area, and so you get kind of showered with all of the items that are in that chest. And yeah, lockout mode is a toggle because basically it toggles the way the game behaves and puts the lockout goal up on the scoreboard, which I guess says -1 until I start the game, and it counts how many players are there and then figures out what the lockout goal is. So that one's already a toggle because it kind of behaves differently. But because these all interact with one another and interact with the customized commands here, I'll have to think about if there's any way to make these a little bit more toggleable, Chinese menu, mix and match kind of things. But it's kind of technically hard to do in terms of the usability. I don't want there to be modes. I've tried to make the lobby as modeless as possible. And so other than there could be a game that's currently in play, at which point most of the signs are grayed out and you can't interact with them until you create a new card, say the previous game has ended and start the new card. Other than that, there's hardly any modes, and I'm trying to avoid anything that's modal. And so right now it's just that there's always some set of commands over here that always run, and clicking one of those things is just a convenient way to replace the commands that are over here. But yeah, maybe there's a way to try to make these things a little bit more toggleable, mix and match. And I'm still not sure if these are all interesting, cool things to do. These are just kind of ones that I came up with that could be fun game modes to play on different weeks of Minecraft Bingo. But I'll have to think about it. Let's see. Elytra plus Frostwalker plus Night Vision. I guess I want to show this one off just because it's kind of fun. But I don't actually want to play it, and so I'm just going to make a random card and start the game just to show off what I did with the little Elytra loadout over here. But yeah, people have found a lot of bugs. I did not realize how useful it was to beta test just me playing on camera and then let you all scrutinize the video, because there have been both little things and bigger things that people have noticed and found that I did not notice during my own testing. You'll see the seed number now appears over in the scoreboard on the right-hand side, which was a bug that I had accidentally introduced when I was fixing another bug a week or so ago. And so people pointed out that the seed number was missing on the card. So in the case of this, we get an unbreakable Elytra. We've got Frostwalker boots that are unbreakable, and we have splash jump boost potions. And so basically this makes it so we can jump around and kind of just behave like normal jumping and caving when we want. But if we decide that we're in the mood to go flying off, I can take one of these splash jump boost potions, hit myself with it, and jump high into the air, and then fly with Elytra and sail a good distance. Let's try to get a sense of just how far I can go. If I go a little bit downward, I can pick up a little bit of speed and then glide a long distance in order to, try to find a jungle or something. And also, Elytra is just fun to play with, and so I think a number of people who play Bingo don't really play much other survival Minecraft and different things, and so might not otherwise get an opportunity to play with Elytra. And so I thought I wanted to introduce this as one of the things in the lobby, less because I think it'd be fun in terms of Bingo gameplay, and more just as an easy way that if people want to play around with Elytra and try to get a sense of how it works, they could do so. And so, yeah, Elytra is pretty fun. You can still take fall damage. Okay, I'm not sure that I completely realized that. So, and you can also like crash into sides of mountains at high velocity. And so, yeah, gotta be careful when you're flying around with Elytra. But it is a lot of fun and an interesting way that you can cover a lot of distance in a short period of time. So I just kind of wanted to show that off. Let's see. All right, interesting. And so if I land kind of at a glancing sideways kind of thing, even if I'm moving fast, it doesn't kill me. I think if I crash into the side of a mountain at high speed, though, it would kill me. So if I do this and then I pull up, I see I took some damage from like crashing into the side. So if I was going faster, I probably would have died from Elytra. I don't have a lot of experience flying around with Elytra either. But let's see. If this was a change from Minecraft Bingo 1.5, if you decide to abort the game at the beginning, right at the beginning, it gives you the little line, click this to return to the lobby. And so that brings me over here, back to the lobby. And yeah, and then basically you can see on these signs it says it ends any game currently in progress, and just about all the other signs that would change things relative to the game are currently grayed out because the game is currently in progress. But if I go ahead and click this, it will remind me of what game mode we're in green. It says Night Vision, Frostwalker, Elytra, and Jump Boost. And then actually generates a new card and clears the scores and does those types of things. and clears my inventory now. That was another thing people pointed out, is it wasn't clearing the inventory when you generated a new card to start a new game. Yeah. So, I don't know. This is kind of a rambling episode, but people had a lot of feedback and comments and questions about various aspects of the art and the customized game modes and a few other things. And I wanted to show off a few of the fixes that I've made as a result of things that people had already found, and still have some that I have yet to do, like changing the art for the rails. They look more like rails and less like ladders. Rails and ladders really do look a whole lot alike. If you actually just take a look at the item, there's a ladder and there's a rail, and they're basically exactly the same shape, and it's just kind of the colors of the vertical bits. Yeah, but I can make the colors of the vertical bits better, because right now the colors are a little too dark on the map, and so I can make them a little bit lighter so they look a little bit more like the iron rail. All right, I'm definitely rambling at this point. Yeah, I still have a number of bug fixes that I want to make. I'll still, basically, on the signs that I have, if things start with capital letters, that means that I've kind of consider things finished. If things start with lowercase letters, like donate over here, those are signs that I haven't finished implementing yet. And so basically, all of the signs in the customization room over here still have lowercase letters, just because I don't consider them done. I have things mostly kind of working, but yeah, people will keep suggesting ways to make the usability a bit better, and I want to think about it a bit more on my own as well. So this portion is something I still want to work on a lot. And yeah, I guess if you have ideas for other game modes, I just want to have like 5 game modes that give you a sampling of what is possible to customize with the command blocks over here, and some that might be fun for people to play around with. But I want to focus less on this and more just open up possibilities of what you can do with this in general, kind of by typing in your own commands. So yeah, and at some point I need to get some people on camera to play some lockout mode together, both just to debug it in 2-player mode. It shouldn't have changed much, but also to try it out in 3- and 4-player mode, just to see how it runs in those game modes as well. But I need to get a little bit more familiar with 1.9 combat to do that. Okay, this is probably me rambling enough just to be its own separate episode. I do plan to play some more bingo on camera as well, but I hope as always that you guys are having a great day. Continue to leave feedback about the map. It's been very helpful, and I will see you when I see you. Bye-bye!